Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back to my Ringwood save, where I need to go into actual game and load up the Ringwood save, ladies and gents. Yeah, make sure all the mods are enabled that we want to enable. I might have downloaded a few new ones since the last stream. So I just need to check very quickly that I've actually enabled them. There's fill level warning, which I hadn't realised had actually glitched out on my PC. The zip file had become corrupted somehow. So it wasn't actually loading in game, so I've had to re-download it. Sometimes that happens when I'm copying zip files from folder to folder for my mod folders and setting up mod folders for new maps. For some weird reason, sometimes the zip files get corrupted, and then the game can't read them, load them, so the mods don't become active in my save, even though I think they are. And the only reason I knew the fill level warning mod was corrupted was because when I went to upload it to my multiplayer server, which I'm currently in the process of refreshing and changing the map on, the multiplayer server wouldn't accept the zip file. It was telling me there was a problem with it, so that was the first warning I got that the thing was broke. So I haven't played any off camera since last week's stream, so I haven't actually got the hay finished baling and collecting, so we will be doing that right at the beginning of the stream. We'll be doing that at the beginning of the stream today. And then hopefully moving into October, where I can get my corn harvested and we can start getting some fields reworked a little bit more. Got some fields to seed as well, I think, and plant. But I'm just going to hold, like I said, I'm going to hold fire on that until October, because I don't want to be starting seeding on the last day of September if I've then got to do rolling and stuff. Because when I advance time and move into October, the crops will pop up out the ground and we'll have missed the chance to do any rolling. But here we are then, ladies and gents. Back on the lovely Ringwoods map. First, obviously, thing we have to do, of course, is go around, turn off all the auto drive hoods, which is annoying. You have finished. Well done. Hopefully it carries on. Harvesting. So yeah, it is currently the last day of September. Excellent. Like I say, I was manually doing the baling up till this point. Been skipping rows because this guy's the mower is doing lands, which I'll be honest, didn't quite do the course as I thought it was going to do the course. It does seem a bit weird, and I probably won't ever do that again. So when I come to automate the mowing on this field next time round, I will program the course a little bit different. I will. Because Yeah, that's not really worked out for me. Plenty of hay bales though. That's always nice. Now, I haven't checked this field to see what actually needs doing to it. Whether, like the other grass field we mowed, whether this one will need fertilising and lime spreading, because the other field did, that we mowed last week. But yeah, I added some new mods today. This should be under case IH. We come across, we should have case Luxem tractor, the case Maxim, the case Optum, case Puma, some quad tracks, of course, and the Steiger. So yeah, we've got a couple of additional case tractors we can now buy when we need to be doing field work and stuff. They're not massively big tractors, no massive horsepowers on them, so they're not going to be doing a lot of heavy field work, but they could certainly do jobs like this. That we've got the Valtra, I think it's the Valtras, or New Hollands, or whatever it is we've got. I'm sure they're Valtras. Yeah, they are. We added Valtras when Giants added Valtras to the game a couple of weeks back. But we might switch. And then I think there was a new John Deere plough added to the mod hub recently as well, which I've downloaded and added. Is it under ploughs? Nope. Under subsoilers. Nope. Not under cultivators, is it? Disc harrows? I did activate it, didn't I? Yeah, it's definitely classed as a plough. 8.6 metre. Hello, bye now, John from West USA. How are you doing on what must be a very early morning for you? You must be having your breakfast. You must be having your breakfast on the west of the USA at this time of day. Where's my mower? Is he still mowing? He's still mowing. So yeah, I have got the plough. If I want to add an 8.6 metre ripper to my list of equipment here at the farm. Haven't actually done any ploughing yet, surprisingly, in the save. Over the last couple of weeks. I haven't had any fields that have needed ploughing, so the one that I have got, which is like Stevie's modified one, sitting at the farm, we've not had a use for yet. Yeah, I figured we'd do this field of hay, because like I say, in October then we can start looking at adding the animals to the farm as well and getting them started. And obviously having plenty of hay is good for sheep and cows. The corn obviously that we harvest in October, hopefully, fingers crossed, is going to be great because we can give that straight to the chickens. Who will then hopefully start producing some eggs for me, because right now, although they've got wheat, they're not actually making any eggs. So I've got a feeling that when you change animals to consume food in parallel, and you have multiple types of food, unless they've got both foods, they won't start producing. Which is obviously a little bit of a concern when I'm thinking of adding like cows, because unless I can give them TMR, silage, hay, grass, etc, 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 we're going to have a problem. Because they won't actually start producing anything until they've got all the different foods. And like I say, I'm not sure we can make everything at this moment in time. I haven't got any silage. I've got several bunkers at the farm. I wasn't sure whether or not I was actually going to put grass in the bunkers and do the whole compacting, covering, fermenting process, or whether I was going to actually just sell the bunkers and replace them with machines. With machines to do my fermenting. Use some of Stevie's wonderful production mods to add grass drying, silage fermenting, TMR mixing, because that would definitely that would speed up the process somewhat. I can just dump deliver them the raw materials to those buildings, and then let them produce the output for me that I can then go and grab a trailer load of and take to the animals as and when they need it. But yeah, we've had a good month. September has been a good month on the farm. For those of you that are new to the channel, new to the stream, and haven't seen the first few streams, we focus very heavily on contracts at the beginning of the month to make money, and then we've invested that money very wisely in buying land and buying fields that we did, because we only started with these 2 fields, and already we've kind of expanded out and grabbed some more land, which means that we're actually capable of doing a bit more for ourselves now. So yeah, it's going well. And we've just done our first mowing of the series in the last stream, so we've got our first grass already collected and put in the silo. We're currently in the process of obviously gathering our first hay. So we'll be able to turn this on quite nicely. Like I say, get the other animals. I want to think, what field was my my stone picker has done field 5 for me. That's good. So we've collected the stones from field 5, so that's now ready to... that's ready for seeding. I don't know how to get... yeah, like I say, originally I wanted to automate this process, but obviously the course that I had programmed into the mower for course play isn't very good. I don't like this land style mowing he's doing, what has been doing. Also, the mower is really... you don't actually appreciate how small that mower is until you realise how many little rows you've got. We probably could have done with windrowing the field after it had been mowed to condense some of that down into, you know, fewer rows. Again, that's something I can look at for the next future mowing. If we've got a decent windrower, decent width windrower that could actually condense this down quite nicely for us, we might program that as a separate course. And then we would have the baler obviously follow the windrower's course on the field. Get the bales collected. But having a mower with a conditioner that's able to produce hay as it goes is quite nice, because it does kind of... oh, we're getting that lag thing again, ladies and gents. I don't know what causes this. Oh, it's trying to phone me. Right in the middle of lagging. Now my controller's turned off. There we go. So I don't know what's caused it. It's only something that happens during Farm Sim. It doesn't happen during any other games I play. Since I reformatted my PC the other week, it's an issue I've been having, and it only happens during Farm Sim, where every sort of 30 minutes or so, hour or so, the game just suddenly nosedives in performance for about a minute, half a minute. And it turns off my controller. Strange one, that. Right, the important thing then, before I actually go to sleep and advance time forward on the map, is to get all this field baled. I can pick the bales up during daylight, but I really do want to get it baled today. Has he missed some grass there? No, that's a bale. It's a bale. That's like, it looks like a patch sticky up bit of grass from a distance. No, it's a bale. Remember how many bales we did in the last stream? It'll tell me on the statisticals page, won't it? It'll tell me on the statisticals. $22 bales in total. That doesn't seem right. Yes, it does, because I did loading wagon of grass. So I've done 22 bales on this field, and I've done 12 bales today so far. Doesn't sound like a lot, but it feels like a lot. Never promised you a rose garden. Sometimes. I would love to know who that was that tried telephoning me, because they've not rung. I got off track there. Got distracted. It's why you should never tractor and text, or use a phone whilst tractoring. Even in video games, you shouldn't use a phone whilst driving. I need to have a look at that. 0333 240 0255. Don't know who that is. They've not left me a voicemail or anything, so I don't know who that is. It's a strange random number. I'll Google it later and find out. Does anybody else do that, or is that just something I do, where you never ever answer the phone, but you wait until after, and then you Google the number to see who was ringing you? Instead of answering the phone to see who was ringing you, you Google it later. The way I figure it is that if you was actually somebody I wanted to talk to, you know, I would have your number in my phone already, in my phone book, and I would have a contact set up with a name and everything for you, so that when you rang, it actually says, oh, it's Dave calling, or it's Steve calling, or whatever. And I would know, and I would be able to answer it. But when it comes up unknown, it's obviously not somebody I've ever dealt with before. So, therefore, I don't want to talk to some random. I don't talk to strangers. Stranger danger. But yeah, definitely need to mow this field better next time. Because I can't use the course play for the baling with the crazy random course that the mower actually ended up doing. Convoy! Need to move the mower out the way in a minute, take it back. Might be able to send it there with auto drive, send it back to the farm. That might make a little bit of sense. And then I can just carry on with the baling. So yeah, let's have a run over here. We will forget that course that Courseplay has loaded. I didn't like that. I didn't like that. Send him to the jet wash bay. And he will be ready for me to put away when we come get back to the farm. Might need to refuel him, of course. Don't know how much fuel he's actually used during his mowing exploits over the last couple of days. Yeah, we'll carry on. Of course, I need to take my injection soon. Mustn't forget that. Definitely need to take it before I go to the game tonight. Plenty of hay. Still got about 18 of the collectibles to find on the map, of course. We haven't picked up all the collectibles, but I did pick up a load in last week's stream, especially in the main town area. In the main town, we pretty much cleared all the collectibles from there. There are still a couple in a couple of places that we didn't get to. Like, we haven't been and got all the ones from the baseball stadium. There's at least 5 there. There's another 2 in the town there, so that's 7. There's 1 over on the train line thing. There's a couple, obviously, around some of the sell points, but they seem to be up on the sell points. And unless I've got a telehandler or I've got the ability to fly, it's a no-go, really. You get a lot of those. There's a couple. So, yeah. Not sure when I'll get round to collecting those. Obviously, it would be nice to collect all the collectibles, because that will give us some free money, which we can use to buy some equipment with. Or some fields, or whatever. Productions. Factories. Start our own production chains. It's oh so dark. All the bales in the world are on this field. And there are what, about 8,000, is it 8,000 litres in these bales? 8,800 litres or something like that? No, they're 8,000. No, they're not. They are, I believe they are 8,800. No, they're more. They're 9,000. It varies from field type to field type what you can get in the bale. So we get 9,000 litres of hay per bale. So that's quite a lot of hay we've got sitting on this field. Bearing in mind we didn't do anything to the field before we mowed it, so it's not been fertilised, it's not been lime spreaded, it's not been properly cared for and maintained. It was what it was when we bought it. So chances are next time we mow it we're going to get even more. Corn harvest. What a cheerful song. I have to admit, this song is so cheerful. Little crippled boy whose daddy's dead. Oh my word. I think we have finished the baling with this row. Excellent. Right, we'll take the baler back to the farm. We will advance time to the morning. And we'll have a look at what we need to do. I don't think the swather made it back, you know. I think the swather got stuck somewhere. I've got a feeling. Oh, there's a bale over there. How'd that get there? Unless, our swather is stuck. We can fix that. He's come into the field in a weird, into the farm in a weird way. And I think we ended up parking this in here, didn't we? We decided that's where the that's where the hay header lives, because there's two headers for this. Right, we'll make it daytime because it's too dark for me to do anything else. So that's it, September completed, folks. We've survived a month on the map. Let's have a check on the fields. One of our fields is ready to harvest, the other is not. That's a bit of a pain. Well, that's a bit of a pain in the ass. We've got some weeds growing on field 4 that we need to perhaps go and take care of. We also need to do some fertilising as well. But first, put the baler away. Oh no! How's that happened? How's that ended up in the wrong way round? There's just that must be a remnant from when I restarted the map after one of the updates that Stevie did, and I copied across my vehicles file. Something must have got screwed up, and I mustn't have noticed that the bale collector ended up the wrong way round. So one field is ready to harvest, the other is not. Not sure how I feel about that. I would have preferred both fields to have been ready for harvesting. I don't really want to have to wait another month. Oh yeah, there's a random bale there. I wonder if that got collected by the swather. That's pretty bad if it did. Because I am using lazy bales, so they shouldn't roll anywhere. As far as I know. Viking under Dead M17, thank you for the follow. Welcome to the channel. Let's worry about getting the bales that aren't on the field first, and then we'll let the we'll let loose on trying to pick up all the bales that are on the field. Oh yeah, we've got a lot of tasks ahead of us after this. So we've got weeding to do, fertilising, we've got seeding, I think. Check the crop calendar. Wheat and barley. We can plant wheat and barley. Rye, spelt, triticale. Because we've got that field there that needs something planting on it. We've got field 4 that needs something planting on it. Or field 5 that needs something planting on it, should I say. Have got oilseed radish on a couple of fields. I've got oilseed radish on one field, which I'm obviously not going to do anything with until the next season. I need to check the crop rotation calendar as well, because I keep forgetting I've got that installed, so I need to make sure I'm following the rotations as best as I can, given how limited the crop rotation calendar is in this game. The mod only gives you the one option. The one like column. Anyone who obviously played seasons in FS19 will be more familiar with how the crop calendar should actually look and function. But the mod for FS22, it's not all that great, I don't think. I think the problem was that the mod author originally basically just copied and pasted the entire portion of the mod from the FS19 version of Seasons, which you think in one hand is quite clever, that the guy was like, oh, if I just take that whole section of the mod out and make it into its own mod for FS22, that'll be great. The only problem with that is the people who made the Seasons mod for FS17 and FS19 now work for Giants. So when that mod landed on their doorstep, they immediately spotted that it was all their code that somebody had basically just copied and pasted. So they rejected it. They took the mod down for copyright reasons. So the guys basically had to go back and redo his crop rotation mod, and it's not as good, because obviously you would prefer to have multiple columns so you could set up multiple different rotations with different crops, so you can, you know, kind of diversify a bit. Any way you lose, every which way you lose. There's probably going to be some harvesting contracts, because obviously there's corn to harvest elsewhere on the map as well. So we might be able to do some corn harvesting contracts as well, sneak a couple of them in this month. Oh, dead road sign, everybody. Pay your respects. Every which way you lose. We've nearly picked up all the bales. So yeah, job done. Right, that was easy enough. Certainly a lot quicker to pick them up than it is to make them. We need some more corn. We need to harvest that corn. We also need to fertilise field 4. Wish I could see without trees getting in the way. We go then, tippy tippy tippy. Right, let's park it the correct way round this time then. So that in future when we want it, we can get it out. There we go. Leave that part there for now. So we want fertilising, don't we? We want fertilising before we want weed killing. I've already got stream elements, thank you, Viking Undead, which I'm using for my chat bots and everything. And stream management. Although it's weird, I have to say this, I'm going to be perfectly honest. Since switching to Stream Elements last week from the company that I was using, it's weird how many people since then are coming into my stream trying to sell me stuff. No offence to you Viking Undead, but since last week, every stream I've done since like the beginning of last week, I'm getting nothing but people coming into my streams who follow me, and before they actually have any kind of conversation with me, have any kind of discussion about the game I'm playing, you know, my channel, they just want to sell me stuff. Whether it be overlays, emotes, intros, outros, graphics, etc, etc, etc. And it's really kind of annoying. It's a very annoying thing for me. It might not be for other people, but if your first ever interaction with me as a streamer creator is to try and sell me something, that's not really going to work, I'm afraid. I would rather you actually spend the time to become a channel regular and a channel subscriber, and you know, take several months to get to know me as a person, as a streamer, as a content creator, and to get to know what type of content I make before you start trying to sell me stuff like overlays and graphics and emotes and stuff like that, because honestly, right now, you don't know me for jack. And how can you produce anything that, you know, reflects me? I said this at the weekend in my Football Manager stream that I did, because I had 2 people in that stream trying to sell me graphics and various bits and pieces. And oh, here's a link to my portfolio, go and have a look at my work. And when you click on it, they've apparently created all this artwork for all these different streamers, yet amazingly every single piece of artwork looks the same. The colours might be a bit different from one streamer to the next, but the basic template, if you like, seems to be the same. So it's like you haven't really made artwork that specifically captures that streamer. What you've done is basically you've got a Photoshop template, and all you do is change the streamer's name and change the colours and stuff, and you sell that to another streamer. Basically every streamer then ends up looking the bloody same. And the graphics to me as well, the art style in a lot of the graphics that people have sent me in portfolios does not reflect me as a streamer and creator. It doesn't reflect the games I play on my channels. So yeah, I'm not interested. And I would imagine if I went and tabbed back to my desktop and had a look at my stream dashboard, I would imagine the person that's followed me has very quickly unfollowed the minute I've started having this little bit of a rant. Because that's what they normally do. The minute I'm not buying what they're selling, they just clear off. Also, when I look at when the accounts were created of these people, and normally the accounts of the people that are messaging me have only been on Twitch for a week or 2, you know. So it's like, well, it's bad enough. You must be bots. All I can think of is it must be bots. It must be bot accounts that are just going around trying, and it's weird. It's weird to me that I'm only getting these bots or whatever since I joined Stream Elements. Which is a bit weird. I'm not saying it's connected or there's any kind of link, but it does seem a little bit fishy to me. It does seem a little bit fishy to me that since I registered for Stream Elements and created an account there, I'm getting all these people coming into the channel trying to sell me shit. You know, it does seem a bit weird. Like the two somehow have to be connected. The two somehow have to be interlinked. Now, I can't remember. Do I have anywhere to unload stones? Hilltop Mill sell point. So what we want to do then, we want to go deliver to sell points Hilltop Mill, sell point. Off you go. That'll get that sped up a bit. Right, this fella we're going to need for doing the corn harvest. No, we're not. I was about to say we're going to need this fella to do the corn harvest, but that's my loading wagon. That's not my actual trailer. So this guy needs to go into... needs to go in the shed. Oh, it's got dodgy steering wheels. I was going to get... No, I'm not going to use the Magnum. No. Change of heart. Just because if I decide that I want to do seeding and stuff at the same time as I'm going to be doing harvesting, I need the Magnum to be available. Driver has reached Hilltop Mill and has sold the stones. We got £2 grand for all the stones. There we go. Leave in part there. Go get the harvester next. But yeah, I have a couple of fields that need to be seeded, but I'm not sure what to put on them at this time of year. Because crop rotation, I don't know how the extra crops on this map, and that's another thing as well, the extra crops that I've got on this map, I don't know how they play with the crop rotation planner, whether the crop rotation planner even takes them into consideration. I have no idea. Because we've got, going back to the crop rotation planner, I need to be able to plant oat on the field that had the potatoes on it. Or some... See, now I've got to think. What was on this field previously? It was soybeans and sugar beet. So it's... So, yeah, I need to plant sunflowers on this field, which I can't plant until March. Yeah, can't plant sunflowers till March. So the oilseed radish is going to stay on that field until at least March. The cornfields, they're going to have soybeans on them, which again I can't plant until April. So these are fields that will probably have some oilseed radish put on them. These will probably have oilseed radish dropped on them. Just because it's free fertiliser ultimately at the end of the day. And if I've got to plough these fields anyway, after doing corn, I might as well wait and do it after the oilseed radish needs ploughing. You know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying? Kill two birds with one stone. Plough the field, fertilise it at the same time. With the oilseed radish. Because the oilseed radish yield isn't going to be affected by seeding it directly on this field after we've done the old corn harvest. Might mulch it, however. Again, although to be fair, is mulching going to be worthwhile? Probably not. Yeah, we're off harvesting again. So like I say, this first corn harvest is pretty much going to be going to feeding the chickens. Don't miss the diddly squat Christmas, says the Gmail email that I've just got. What have you got for sale, diddly squat Christmas? Festive hoodies, tractor socks, loads of stuff. Because it is indeed soon Christmas. In about 25 days' time, it's going to be Christmas. So if you haven't got your Christmas shopping done, you need to start thinking about it. There's my injection. Don't let me forget, I need to take this. So if I've not took it before the end of the stream, please remind me at the end of the stream that I need to take that. It's a shame that that field's not ready for harvesting. We'll let him carry on. Right, so let's go and have a look. We've not checked contracts today, actually. There's sugar beets. There is soybeans. And there is corn. Well, we will queue those up. Those two. I'm not going to do the sugar beets. You can forget that one. Herbicide spraying. Yes, we'll do those. Definitely, because I'm going to need to weed spray my own field anyway, so I'm going to have to buy some spray. And lime spreading field 15. Yeah, whatever. Right, need to go and pay a bit more attention to the spraying. Because this guy's not actually sprayed the field properly. They don't. You know, it's the AI, what do you expect? Yeah, and I can definitely see now as well where my previous seeding and stuff has missed on this field. which I think initially was an issue with the field being a bit bumpy. And certainly like my cultivator and that wasn't working properly on the field. And I definitely don't think my seeder worked on the field. But obviously I've now been over the field with the smoothing tool. And I think everything works a little bit better now. Or will work better in the future. Because although the field is still obviously quite hilly and undulating, it is actually smooth. It doesn't have these like little sharp spikes everywhere. Oh yeah, fertilise this field, fertilise the grass field that we did the hay on. Then we're going to empty this sprayer, get the fertiliser out of it, and switch it over to doing herbicide. And then we can spray this field, remove all the weeds, and then we can go and do those 2 spraying contracts and earn some money. We are quite elevated. Short end of the stick. Fertilising's done. Yeah, I might remove those bunkers at the farm. And I might go for the production building approach to doing my grass drying, silage making, TMR mixing. Feel that I would be better served. I would be better served having the machines rather than the bunkers. Right, you can spray. This fella can empty the combine. And I must admit, I'm better at unloading these combines than auto drivers these days. Of course, we're using the smaller corn header, so I need to drive further away from the header. Right. Let's just stop and think what we're doing. What are we doing? We need to seed field 10, which was potatoes. It wants to be oat. Well, that's not going to happen, ladies and gents. Because we can't plant oats, but we do need other crops. And it's raining. You son of a bitch. Right, we've previously seeded barley, so we need to change this to seed wheat next. I'm going to do some wheat down on the bottom field. It can't be that much different from oat, surely, that it's going to make the crop planner different. Your what? No, I've not seen it. Have they moved it? Because of like Christmas lights and stuff?
I moved that.
Strange. I've not seen it, because, like I say, it's no use to me, because yours is a different connector to mine, so I can't use your chargers, because I don't have USB-C. I've still got the old lightning connector on my phone, because my phone's that old. But I don't get new phones very often. Right, you're doing some seeding for me. Very nice. Needs rolling. That's strange, you know. Can I stop the harvester, please? Because he's actually getting less crop by harvesting in the rain. And I don't want to get less crop. What's this jackass doing? Not fertilising my field. That's what he's doing. course. We need to think about where I'm actually going to unload all these pallets. Do I have the object storage mod installed? Can't remember if I have or not. By GTX. If I have, I have. I can place some racks somewhere then that I can put these herbicide thingies into. Right, that is fertilising done, taken care of. I need to decide really where I'm going to put storage objects like fertiliser and stuff, storage racks, because they need to be in places where they're not going to interfere with auto drive, and at the same time they need to kind of be in places where they are accessible. There's an area here I can change the colour. I can whiz it round. Spawn area is restricted. Get that out of the way. We might be removing a tree then, ladies and gents, to make this a little bit easier. Bye-bye, tree. Let's have a try of that again, shall we? It'll fit there. Right. Wait a minute. Yeah, it's supposed to take all that good stuff. There we go. These are too heavy. Really? Because that definitely says for pallets in big bags. Oh, I need to change it over. I do. That's why. Okay. Seed treating liquid. I don't know what that's for. Remember that. I had a similar problem on when I added the bale sheds. I remember on my Riverview map. I had issues whereby brains had a brain fart moment. When I bought the bale storage sheds, they didn't they wouldn't take my silage bales, and I was like, why won't they take the bales? And I didn't realise you have to go in and actually specify what the sheds will take. It's not just like auto load. It won't, the sheds and the object storage mods won't just auto load any pallets. You have to specifically say this shelf or this shed will only take this type of bale or this type of pallet, which is a little bit restrictive, because obviously you just like to chuck everything in it. But I guess certain realisms. I've forgotten what the buttons are for bulk fill. Insert. So it should be the equals button. There we go. Pete Some Guy, hello! How am I? I'm very well, thank you, Pete Some Guy. Very well. Getting to grips with everything. Need to do some herbicide spraying, some weeding. Rain has obviously stopped harvest at this point, so now it's time to do some other jobs. That might be enough herbicide to fill this machine with a little bit spare. Right, we'll go down and do field 4. Start with. So we need to get rid of the weeds on this field. And then we'll check in with our seeder. We'll check in with our seeder, see how he's getting on. So you can go and remove all my weeds. Looks like wheat seeding is going okay. It's a shame I have to roll this field after he's finished. I wonder if that only works then with... I wonder if that only... if the no rolling mod only works if we use a planter. If we use a seeder, we have to roll. Because I'm still trying to get my head around that, because sometimes we don't have to roll. And sometimes we do. And I'm a little bit confused by that. It also looks like he's not quite managed to finish seeding that edge, so I'll have to manually do that edge myself. Same as I'm going to have to do headland. I'm going to have to do headlands on most of these fields, actually, because the AI is very bad. The AI is awful at doing the field edges properly. And it's got worse. I honestly think the AI has gotten worse in the last couple of updates that Giants have done. If you use Giants AI, obviously if you use Coursey Play, if you use my favourite mod Coursey Play, it tends to be a lot better. But I haven't been using a lot of Coursey Play in this series, in this save. Maybe I should start. Never used of Coursey Play. It's Course Play, but I call it Coursey Play. Or somebody kept calling it Coursey Play in one of my streams or in one of my YouTube videos, and ever since then I've kind of borrowed it. It might have been Mr. Helgi who kept calling it Coursey Play. And ever since then I've kind of just kept using it just to make fun of them. But yeah, normally I would use Course Play, and I would have all the courses saved, all the different course types for all the different fields saved, so I can just reload them and completely automate the whole farming experience, so I can just sit here and be farm manager. But there are a weird number of people in the farming simulator community who absolutely lose their heads and go completely nuts if you use Course Play. They get really angry about it. So I've kind of been trying to avoid using it, because I don't want to upset people. Upset the few who get irrationally triggered by a mod. But it's certainly for AI working, Course Play is the best mod. It's so much more convenient, because like I say, you can once you've created the course, you can save it, so you can reload it every time. And Course Play can be used to do jobs that the AI, the Giants AI, can't do. So things like mowing, things like baling, things like tedding, windrowing. Course Play will even do bale collecting. So if you've got bales all over a field, Course Play can go around and collect them. It's a genius little mod. I'm wondering why that guy has stopped there and isn't moving any further. Yeah, collecting bales is very impressive because, of course, I mean, I don't understand how they've scripted that, because one thing about bales is there's no logic to where they're going to be. Their placement on a field will be completely random, you know? So the fact that Courseplay is able to find the bales, knows where the bales are, can drive the tractor to them and align itself so that it can scoop them up with the bale tool, that to me is very, very impressive. And I think that's something new. I think that's something they've added to this year, FS22's version of the mod. I don't know if bale collecting was in the FS19 mod or not. It might have been. I can't remember. It's a bit that long ago since I played FS19. I know they've recently been adding the they've been trying to add the functionality to do the bunker driving to Courseplay in FS22, because I must admit that was one of the features of FS19's Courseplay that I really have missed. It was something that I only got my head round very late in the game in terms of Farm Sim 19. But once I got my head round it and used it, game changer. Game changer. Being able to have the AI do your levelling and compacting of silage in bunkers. Very, very useful. So you could have the AI bring in your grass, AI, and the AI would then obviously unload into the bunker, and the AI would fill the bunker up with grass, and then you could have another tractor or vehicle then doing the squishing for you. So all you then had to do was come along and cover it, and then once the silage had fermented, the FS19 version of Courseplay even had a mode in it where it could drive a wheel loader, telehandler, front loader, and basically shovel all the stuff out of the bunker and put it wherever you wanted it to go. Like I say, that to me, once I played around with that feature and learnt how it worked and how to set it all up, absolute game changer, because what is normally a very time consuming and difficult practice could be completely handed over to the AI, who could be doing it in the background whilst I was doing something else. Absolutely brilliant mod. Fantastic. Because like Courseplay would like drive to the field for me. He would collect the grass, and then when he got full, he would drive to the bunker, empty. He'd then drive back to the field, carry on picking up the grass or the straw. Once he got full, he would drive back to the bunker, all on his own, empty. At the same time as he was driving backwards and forwards, I could have a guy in the bunker doing the levelling and squishing, and he was clever enough, Courseplay clever, that as soon as he detected the trailer within range of the bunker, he would drive off out of the way, clear the way, so that the trailer could go in, unload, without any issues, colliding. And then when the trailer drove off, the guy would then drive back into the bunker and carry on squishing. Absolutely brilliant. And unfortunately, because of the way Courseplay has changed the mod, because of the way the mod has changed between FS19 and FS22, they've lost all that functionality. It's not in the mod anymore. And it's a little bit disappointing, really. I know they've tried adding, I think there's they have tried adding shoveling back in, not shoveling, compacting back in a recent update. I've not had a chance to play with it yet. The bunker compacting and squishing and leveling stuff. I might have a play with it, but honestly, it's almost as easy now just to use the buildings, the factories. You can have a factory that takes care of drying grass and turning it to hay. You can have a factory that ferments grass into silage. You can have a factory that takes all your grass, hay and silage and makes it into TMR. There's very little reason to muck about with bunkers in the game these days. Unless you really are a hardcore player. Or you're one of the players that absolutely objects to there being factories and production chains in the game. You know. One of those players that was totally against the fill type mover script in FS19 or the global company stuff. Again, the people who are against Courseplay are probably the same people that are against factories and production chains. But again, people would argue the same about me because, you know, I'm not into the whole logging and forestry side of the game. Is that a Tesla truck? It is a Tesla truck, yes. My lovely Tesla truck that has one tiny, slight little bit of a problem. In that it doesn't tend to fit into my buildings. Because for some strange reason known only to the person who made it, when you change the cab design from the low cab to the sort of the high sleeper cab, he forgot to remove the collisions on the cab. So for example, if I try to drive into my cow pen over here, I try to drive into the cow pen, it gets stuck. It won't go in. It won't go in. Because obviously the when you change the cabin type from type 1 to type 2, unfortunately, whoever made the mod, whoever made the vehicle, forgot to change the collision. So, despite having cabin 2 selected, the game still thinks and reacts as if it's got the higher cabin fitted, so it won't fit in the building. But not to worry. Not to worry. The main use of the Tesla truck is purely for carting loads of material to sell points. So like when I was doing the potato harvesting contracts early on in the series and the sugar beet harvesting contracts, when you've got hundreds of thousands of litres of stuff to go and sell, that's where the Tesla truck comes in useful. For general moving materials around on the farm, tractor and trailer is still the best way of doing it. Hello, you have finished. Have you? Because I don't think you have. I'm afraid. I'm afraid you've not quite managed to finish. So we will have to do a bit of manual finishing. Now, I'm not going to spray the weeds on field 5 because there's nothing planted on field 5 yet. But I am going to go do field 3. And then I'm going to go and do the 2 contracts I've got for weed removal. So yeah, me not being a big forestry logging man, I was saying, I get, you know, things like the Platinum Expansion DLC that came out a couple of weeks ago for the game. Totally pointless to me. Completely pointless to me because the whole map and everything is just purely logging and forestry. There's no farming on it, so it's not something I will actually play and use. A bit like a lot of the content in the Year 1 Season Pass. A lot of the Year 1 DLC for this game is stuff that I'm probably never going to use during the course of my playing, because it doesn't really fit in with what I do and my play style. So whilst I am yet to hear anything from Giants about a Year 2 Season Pass, if there is one, I probably won't be investing. Not initially out of the gate. I will wait to see what the actual content they release that falls into that season pass is before I go and buy it. I mean, obviously, I bought Farming Simulator 22. I bought the collector's edition of Farming Simulator 22, the physical collector's edition, which also had included the season pass. So I've ended up with all the DLC anyway, but certainly if I was one of the people that went out and bought the season pass when the game first launched, I probably would have been very disappointed. Because again, things that were mentioned, that were suggested as being DLC for the game, never materialised. Because I remember when the game came out, one of the first things people noted was there wasn't a lot of case equipment in the game. And the official line from Giants was that Case were changing their vehicle and equipment lineup and hadn't actually finalised the equipment and vehicle lineup when they were making the game, which is why there's very little Case stuff in the game at launch, and still very little Case stuff in the game. And I think a lot of people responded to that and reacted to that as if, oh, we'll be getting Case as DLC after release, sometime down the road. You know, we'll be once everything's been sorted out and fine. You know, once Case in real life have sorted themselves out, we'll then get a Case DLC. And no, nothing like that came to pass. And I think. So yeah, I think some of the strange decisions that Giants took with this game led a lot of people to speculate what the DLC was going to be, and then they ended up disappointed when it wasn't what they speculated it to be. But certainly, if there'd been a case equipment pack released for the game, I would have been happy with that. I probably would have used that more than the Antonio Carrero stuff. And some of the other stuff, like the AG silos. Probably not going to use those ever. I mean, obviously the Kubota stuff, some of that's useful. The tractors are a little bit small and underpowered. But other stuff from the Kubota back is really nice. The baler that I use on this map is fantastic. A fast bale. Especially with the tweak. that I did to it, so it does all 3 sizes of bales. Pretty cool. Hey, it's not raining anymore. I've got a feeling you haven't finished seeding that field. Yeah. Yeah, weirdly, he's done that little bit, that little 3-foot section of the field, but then didn't carry on. So how are you anyway, Pete? How are you doing? Feels like not spoken to you for ages. I see you post quite regularly over on Steve's Discord still. I see you post quite regularly in the Formula 1 and tech channels. Modding software for Euro Truck Sim. Ah, okay. I don't think I've got those games installed at the minute. I had to reinstall my PC a fortnight ago, and there's a lot of games I've yet to actually reinstall and set up again. So Euro Truck and American Truck Sim are probably 2 games that I've yet to actually download and reinstall. The whole starting my profile from scratch again in both games is just going to absolutely annoy me. Losing all my progress because I didn't have my save files backed up. Oh, annoying as heck. In fact, my steering wheel that's sat here right next to me, I've not even reinstalled that yet. I need to go to Thrustmaster and download all the drivers and stuff for it, because I've not even reinstalled that on my PC. So I haven't even got Formula 1 installed, or any of the other driving games. But I'm looking forward to if Sony bring Gran Turismo to PC. Because I saw some stuff in the news at the beginning of the week that they're planning to bring Gran Turismo to PC, which would be very cool. Especially as it's been 12 years sort of this month since Gran Turismo 5 came out. Yeah, Sony are going to bring Gran Turismo to PC. They've been bringing Sony have been bringing a lot of their exclusive games to PC recently. Obviously, they brought Days Gone, God of War, Horizon Zero Dawn, Death Stranding, Beyond Two Souls, Heavy Rain, games like that. Both Spider-Man games they brought to PC this year. They just brought the Uncharted Among Thieves collection to PC. And yeah, there was I read an article on Monday that they were looking at bringing Gran Turismo to the PC. The studio that handles all the conversions, all the ports, Nixes, I think it's called Nixes. Polyphony Digital have been in contact with them. To see if it's something that's possible to do without having to, you know, reprogram vast amounts of the game. But yeah, I mean, if Gran Turismo comes to PC, I'll be happy. Because a racing game that has normal, real-world street cars is fantastic. Unfortunately, the Forza series has gone very arcadey, and it's not a racing game to me, so I don't like it. Need for Speed is very arcadey, don't like it. Whereas Gran Turismo, I think, is very good. If you don't just want like a Formula 1 type game, I think Gran Turismo is the next best racing game out there. If you want to race normal cars that you could actually buy and own in real life. So yeah, as soon as they announce it and it's, you know, and it's available to pre-order on Steam, I will be pre-ordering Gran Turismo. Because as I say, it's been 12 years since Gran Turismo 5 launched, and I've been enjoying every day when I log into Facebook. I enjoy the bit where it shows you your past memories. So for the last month, all the past memories have all been all my old Gran Turismo 5 content from when I was playing that. Because Gran Turismo 5 came out at the perfect time, because it snowed. I don't know if you remember that, Pete. 2010, it snowed in November, and the snow stuck around till like February here in the UK. So at the time, me working at a golf club, couldn't do a lot. Wasn't a lot to do at the golf club. It was closed because it was under snow. So I basically got to spend November, December, January and February sat at home playing Gran Turismo on my PlayStation. And quite a few of us golfers bought Gran Turismo and the Logitech Driving Force GT wheel, and we all got seriously into Gran Turismo. We were playing it like all day. Every day for 4 months. And this is how bad it was. On the days where I did have to make a trip to the golf course to do something, I would have my Billy B-Spec guy doing B-Spec races whilst I was away from the PlayStation. I'd have Billy B-Spec. I'd have my Billy B-Spec doing endurance races to keep earning me credits and points whilst I wasn't physically playing the game. I want some rye. Good old Billy B-Spec. Give him that lovely fan car. That fan car from the 1970s that really brought a meaning to ground effect. That would have Adrian Newey absolutely flipping gushing himself. You just let him loose with one of those and he'd win every race. Billy B-Spec would win every race with that fan car. Great. And then of course everybody was trying to make 30 million credits in the game to buy the Red Bull. To buy the Red Bull concept car. Which was just absolutely insanely fast. I can't remember what its time was for a nap of the Nürburgring, but it was fucking insane, absolutely insane. So yeah, I'm looking forward to Gran Turismo, but obviously to play Gran Turismo I would definitely need a new PC before then. I would need to sort my PC out once and for all because it's been an absolute nightmare this last month. Hence the reinstall a fortnight ago, because everything started going terribly, terribly wrong with it. And long have the discussions continued between me and Mr. Helgi over what I should get in my next build. And how much I should spend on my next build. Because he thinks that I shouldn't buy a graphics card for more than 500 bucks. Any graphics card that costs more than 500 quid, you shouldn't buy. And it's like, well, you're not going to get a graphics card today for 500 quid. Not a good one. Hell, you can barely get a processor. You can barely get a processor for that kind of money these days. You know? He doesn't quite understand that time has shifted. And graphics cards today cost as much as the rest of your build combined. I mean, I was looking at some builds last week on Black Friday on some of the popular retailers here in the UK. There was one retailer doing a PC for about 3,700. And Mr. Helgi was like, oh, that's far too expensive for a PC. And it's like, really? You reckon that's 3,700 is expensive for a PC today? If you want the latest processor, you know, a Ryzen 9 7950 or an i9 1300K. And it's certainly if you're going down the whole RTX 4090 4080 road, you're not going to get you're not going to get a PC for less than £3,000. Definitely not. You could build your own for around 2,000 or less. I don't know. I don't know if you could. Your graphics card's going to cost you £2,000, more or less, on its own. Pete. A processor's going to set you back close to £1,000 for the latest AMD or Intel. And then you've got your motherboard, then you've got your DDR5 memory. That ain't cheap. I was looking at one PC on scan, which is £5,799, and I was thinking that's probably the one I would order. If I had to order one this week, you know, had to order one, that's probably the one I would go for, because it's probably the most future-proof for me. That I wouldn't need to upgrade for probably another 5 to 10 years. And when I told Mr. Helgi it was like £5,700, he fainted. And I don't think he's regained consciousness yet, because I haven't heard from him since. But I think he was looking last week at getting a yeah, you see, that build is all last gen stuff. AMD 5700. That's, you know, that's like old last gen. I'm only looking at the latest, building with the latest stuff. I don't want last gen. If I'm building a new PC, I don't want to start building it with last gen. You know, it's got to be current. It's got to be new now. It's got to be new now and then go out of date. and then go out. I don't want to start out of date and get more out of date, if you know what I mean. And I think that's the difference, because I think Mr. Helgi last week was looking at, was it the 6800 Ryzen GPUs? The 6800 or the 6850? I think he was looking to get one of those for his PC, but then he discovered he needed a power supply upgrade as well, and then he was a bit like, ooh, didn't fancy it. But it's weird, because I don't know why he's upgrading, because he's got a 36. I'm sure he's got a 3060 in his PC currently, because he upgraded earlier on in the year, because he got a Ryzen 7. Was it a Ryzen 7? Or Ryzen 9 5750? Was it 5750K? Processor? Whatever the last gen top Ryzen GPU was, I think it's the Ryzen 9 5700 or 5750. He got that, and then he got a 3060 series Nvidia card, but now he wants the Ryzen card to go with his Ryzen CPU. But I think he was a bit worried about the power requirement, and whether his 750 watt power supply could run it, and whether he would need to upgrade to 1000 watt. I said I don't really know, because I'm not that up to speed on the whole Ryzen stuff and the AMD stuff. I've paid a bit more attention to the new stuff that's obviously released in the last couple of months, because obviously thinking about my PC build, my upgrade, I thought I'd best have a look to see whether I should think now about changing from being a the only thing that slightly worries me a little bit about going for me personally going down the road of an AMD build is the fact that as yet there is absolutely no details on the performance of the new AMD cards. AMD have kind of not really been very forthcoming with how those cards actually perform against their competitors. And performance would have to be pretty bloody amazing on the new AMDs to trade off what I would be losing by switching to AMD from my current, obviously, Nvidia card. Because obviously, me dumping Nvidia, I would be losing my G-Sync. I'd be losing DLSS, and I'd be losing ray tracing. So the rest of the performance would have to be very bloody special to make losing that stuff worth the switch. It's too hyped up these days, Long. Yeah, but it makes games look pretty. It makes the games that have it look very pretty. Pink. And everybody likes pretty things. People prefer pretty over function. You've got to remember that. It's pretty over function. But obviously, whatever I decide to upgrade to, I'm going to benefit greatly from the content creator aspect, because obviously for my video stuff, any upgrade I do now is going to be massively beneficial, because obviously I'm going to be able to do the whole AV1 encoding, video encoding and stuff, and I'm going to be able to do that on the fly. So I'll be able to record, obviously, my 4K stuff that I record for YouTube. I'll be able to capture and record that in a much lower file size using the AV1 format. And the fact that any of the new processors and GPUs can encode that on the fly, on the go, is pretty good. Because my current setup, my current PC, can't do X265. Not whilst I'm recording and playing, unfortunately. Obviously when I'm rendering my videos in Sony Vegas and I'm just rendering, it can do X265 okay, but it can't do it whilst I'm playing, which is a bit of a pity. So that's the one good thing. Whether I go for an AMD build or an Intel Nvidia build down the road, I'm going to get the benefit of that. Be nice if Twitch ever upped their game so that we could start streaming to Twitch in 4K. and stuff, you know. Having the option. It can be. Certainly on Windows 11. Yeah, the Intels do the AV1 with Windows 11. But I know the NVIDIA, the RTX cards do, they've got an actual dedicated encoder chip on the cards that do that. Much like my current 2080 does has a dedicated X264, X265 encoder on the card, which you can use in like OBS, and I can use it in Vegas to let the card do all the encoding and not use the CPU for encoding. But yeah, on the new spec cards, they do the AV. They've got the AV1 encoders built in. The cards, the GPUs. Because I know when I was talking to Mr. Helgi about it, he was obviously saying, oh, you don't need this graphics card and you don't need this graphics card. But he's obviously only looking at gaming. He only plays games. He doesn't do the whole video stuff, the streaming stuff and that. So for him, aspects of certain graphics cards obviously don't matter to him and aren't needed. Whereas for me, they're probably a little bit more important. I mean, certainly, you know, for the games I play, the graphics cards are way overkill. And a lot of the games I play don't even take full use of cores and threads and all that stuff anyway in PCs. So until the actual developers start changing their game engines to utilise more, there's no real benefit. But obviously from the production and stuff, there are the benefits are more noticeable. Right, so I've now seeded a couple of fields. Do I have to roll that field as well? We're getting sidetracked now. I need to refocus. I do need to roll that field as well. Yeah, I probably need to invest in another type of tool for seeding and planting, because I'm every time I use this, this particular seeder, I have to roll afterwards. Maybe I need a different seeder, and then I get the benefit of the no rolling mod. Right, so I just need to do the headlands on that field. And then I need to come back. I need to go back to field 4 and do a bit I missed on field 4. And then I need to go and get the rest of the weed spraying done. But yeah, ultimately, and I don't know that I still don't know quite the reason why. But a couple of weeks ago, my current PC, I started having a bit of a weird problem with it, where it would no longer recognise and detect any of my physical storage devices that are plugged into it. So over a period of a couple of weeks, I lost access to all my SSDs. Or began losing access to all my SSDs. And I ended up having to take most of them out of the PC and plug them into external cables and external docks to be able to access them again and get access to them again. Which obviously was quite annoying, because when you start plugging the SSDs in via USB docks and cables, you lose all the performance that an SSD gives you over a traditional hard drive. So that's not good. And then the big, obviously, problem I had one day was I restarted the PC after doing a software update. It might have been my GPU driver. I think I updated my NVIDIA drivers, and it told me I had to restart to do the change. So obviously I selected restart, and I got that really annoying screen pop up that you sometimes get that says such and such a program is currently preventing your PC from restarting, and you sit there and wait for that to go away, and then the PC restarts. Only on this particular day, that screen did not go away. I came back to the PC a couple of hours later, and it was still there. It hadn't closed the program down and then restart. So I was like, that's a bit weird. So I did the one thing you should never ever do, and I just hit the restart anyway button that was on the screen, and the PC shut down. And then when it restarted, that was it. It could no longer find my boot drive. It could no longer find where Windows was installed. And it just decided at that point, I'm just going to load into the BIOS instead. And every time I turned the PC on, it would try to find the boot drive, couldn't find it, and would go into the BIOS. So, put my Windows USB stick in, my recovery disk, tried to repair the Windows installation, and of course it does that lovely wonderful thing where it goes, I'm sorry, but the version of Windows you have got doesn't match the version on this device. We can't repair it. So I went and created a new Windows USB drive with the current latest version of Windows 10 from Microsoft. Tried to do the repair again, and of course Windows still said the versions that don't match, can't fix it. So I ended up having to do a whole reinstall. Yeah, not very handy. Lost a lot of work, files that I hadn't quite backed up, or I thought I had got backed up, but it turns out that somewhere over time, OneDrive no longer backs up certain files and folders of Windows, and I hadn't realised, and therefore my own personal cloud system that I have as a secondary backup, I hadn't told that to back up these files and folders either. So yeah, there was a bit of a gap in my backing up system. So I lost some stuff. It happens. But yeah, very weird issue. And like I say, still not resolved, because I've still got most of my storage devices connected externally to the PC now. Because it just seems like if I plug them into the SATA ports in the PC, PC can't see them. Doesn't want to know. So I'm guessing maybe the SATA ports have failed on my motherboard, which is an issue I've had before previously. I had that issue on my last PC as well. So Very odd. Either that or chipset. Chipset could have failed, yeah. What motherboard is it? It's an Asus Maximus 10 Hero. It's all BIOS is up to date. BIOS is latest. I've updated to the latest version of BIOS. I've got all the latest drivers off the Asus website for it, downloaded and installed. Because I do check that fairly regularly. Could have been a Windows update. Could easily have been. Because I have had some of those. They're cumulative updates for 2022 or H2022 or whatever. But it was there something also very weird, I'll be honest. After reinstalling my PC and obviously loading up Windows for the first time on a clean install, absolute clean install, within a couple of minutes of me being on the desktop, I got a notification in the notification area that Windows 11 was now ready to install on my PC. Windows 11 is now ready to install on your PC. And I was sat there thinking to myself, hang on a minute. How come Windows hasn't offered me to update the previous 2 years? You know, why hasn't it offered me a Windows 11 update before then? So I sat there wondering whether or not I should have updated to Windows 11 or not. And in the end, I decided to click the no go away button. And now I've reinstalled a lot more of my programs and software, and I've got things set up how I like it set up. I'm even less inclined now to want to upgrade. Obviously, my next PC will come with Windows 11 on it from the shop, so I won't have an option. But at least then I'll be starting from scratch on a new PC. Right, let's go back to the store, fill this back up, because then we'll have to go do the spraying contracts. But one of the things I'm looking forward to regarding a new build or a new PC is the fact that on all the newer motherboards that are out now, they come with support for multiple M.2s directly on the board. I think one of the Asus PC, one of the PCs I was looking at getting, has an Asus motherboard that allows you to put 4 M.2s on it at the same time. 4 M.2 drives. So I wouldn't even need SSDs then. Field 20 and field 26 we want to go to. Field 26 is right in that bottom corner. Right. We will let the auto drive man drive to field 26 for us. Because I've noticed it stopped raining quite a long time ago now. So we'll let this guy carry on harvesting. And then we need to think about getting on with the rolling tomorrow, as soon as it's daylight. So we'll let that guy carry on into the night. I'm going to take advantage of sleeping. Hopefully it won't be raining tomorrow. Oh, I'm getting that lag thing again. Ladies and gents, the lag is back. Told you this pops up every hour or so for whatever random reason. Sit there, my controller will turn off in a minute, and then I know it's safe to resume. It's the only game it does it with since I reinstalled. There we go, controller's gone off. There we go, now the lag has stopped. Same, don't know what causes that. It's the only game it happens in is Farm Sim. Every hour, you can almost set your watch by it. And I don't know what, it's not got, it's no, I don't have autosave or anything enabled. And if I did have autosave, it would be every 15 minutes, because that's autosave in Farm Sim. The longest time you can have for autosave. So it would happen every 15 minutes, not once every hour. I just find it very confusing. I find it confusing. Check out all the road signs. Right, it's getting really dark. I keep thinking, God, it's really late. I keep thinking, God, it's getting really late because of how dark it is outside, but it's only 4 o'clock. I keep thinking it's like 6 o'clock. I'm going to have to start thinking about going for my dinner, though, in a minute. Because I have got a football match this evening to go and watch. So need to start thinking about having me dinner and then going for a scrub. Using that lovely, fantastic UK term. English term. Going to have a scrub. Make sure I've got nice, clean clothes. So I look presentable when I go to the football. Make sure I've got some warm clothes too, because it's probably not going to be that sweating up the meres. I finally decided that it makes very little sense. It makes very little sense that when I taking my dad to the football, dropping him off, driving all the way home, to then turn around and drive all the way back, pick him up when it's finished. Not a whole lot of sense and point to that. I might as well drive him to the match, drop him off, stay and watch the match myself, and then pick him up and drive home. Then I'm only making 2 journeys, not 4. You know? Because ultimately, there's not a lot I can do then in between dropping him off and going to pick him up again. Because I'm always looking at the clock thinking, when do I need to go and pick him up? So it's counterproductive to me trying to do any videoing or streaming. So I just figured, screw it. I'll go and watch a game of football in real life for the first time in about, I don't know, 8 years, maybe more. It's certainly been a long time since I watched my local team. I haven't been and watched a game of theirs since I was a very little kid. I mean, obviously the last actual game of football I went to in real life would have been the Manchester United game in the last season. We won the league when Fergie retired. The game against Chelsea, last game of the season. I went to Old Trafford and I watched that match. We got tickets from a guy that did at the time work with my dad. He was a season ticket holder, but he couldn't go, so he gave us his season ticket for the last game of the season. And we went and watched Man U versus Chelsea. You've managed to crash, dude. Totally not impressed. Because this is field 20 over here. Okay. Well, looks like there's plenty of weed spraying to do. I'm not going to worry too much about. Let the AI see the field. Harvester's still going. Where's my... Oh, it's on the trailer. Can't fuck down on. There's me hunting round looking for my voucher tractor. And it's on the trailer. If I'm going to do the rolling, then I need to be using my little Case Pro. Blister on the inside of my mouth where I burnt myself the other evening on some hot food. My tongue keeps finding it. It's annoying me. Right in my cheek. Yeah, it's going to be interesting going to watch the football tonight. It's funny because I manage the team every year in Football Manager, but like I say, I probably haven't watched them for I haven't watched them in real life for probably 30 years. So it probably would be very nice of me to go and actually watch a game, actually see the real players. So I actually know who I'm talking about when I'm playing the game. And I'm managing them in the game, Football Manager. And who I'm slagging off and criticising, and who I'm selling. Who I'm firing. I can actually put a face. For the players. Right, let's do some rolling then. Of course, we haven't used any fertiliser because we don't put fertiliser in our seeder. So this field's going to need fertilising twice. I don't know about field 5. I don't know whether that's fertilised or not. Well, I think it's probably single fertilised. I don't know if it's 2-stage fertilised. He's getting full, so I need to think about emptying him. Put my beacons on. There you go. You're empty. I'll turn the beacon off again. And it has gone off. Because of course it will go off because it's single player. It's only in multiplayer where that thing stays glitched. Doesn't turn off properly. And you end up having to put up with it flashing for the whole night. Or at least until you restart the game. It's some kind of server client, local client synchronization issue that Giants have never resolved because their netcode is really bad. Bad netcode. That's why one player can be driving on a field seeing a lovely, wonderful sunny day, and another player can be driving on the exact same field at the exact same time and be seeing rain. All immersion. But yeah, I'm currently in the process of changing the multiplayer server. I'm trying to find a map to put on the new server. I've posted 3 in my Discord. And now I'm just waiting for player feedback as to which one they want me to put on. I think the drop-off in players on Calmston was obviously down to people just being bored of it after 4 or 5 months of playing on it. I think they got bored, so it's time to give it a refresh. And I'm going to let them choose the map this time. So as soon as they let me know which map they want, I'll get it uploaded, I'll get the server started, and we can all start playing. We can all start playing together and having some fun. I know Mr. Helgi was a bit disappointed that I chose to play this map in single player and be streaming it in single player, but my reason for that is purely and simply down to the fact I know how many times Stevie likes to release updates. and how many updates Stevie does. Therefore, I know how many times I will have to restart my save game every time there's an update. And when you're playing on a multiplayer server, the last thing you want to be doing is restarting your save every couple of days or every couple of weeks, because you feel like you're not making any progress. I would assume Mr. Helgie's at work. I can't remember if Wednesday's the one day of the week he has to physically go to his office. The rest of the time he still gets to do the whole work from home thing in the home office. But there is one day of the week where everybody actually has to go to the physical office and show their faces. And I think it might be Wednesday. So I'm guessing that's where he probably is. I haven't had any pop-ups, so I don't think he's playing any other games at the minute. Normally Steam tells me if he's playing games. I ain't got Discord open. Yeah, he's not on the Discord, so he's not online at the minute. We have been having a lot of fun playing that what's it, Medieval Dynasty game just recently. Although it's a single player game, we have been playing online at the same time, chatting to each other in the Discord about what each of us is doing in our own games. And as Mr. Helgie's got a lot more experience with the game than me, he's been kind of tutoring me a little bit. So I've done a few, I've been doing some streams, been streaming some of my Medieval Dynasty gameplay. And Mr. Helgie's been giving me, like, tips and advice. Which has been kind of cool, because, yeah, it is a bit of an interesting game to try and get your head round. Yeah, he's not online at the minute. So I assume today is working the office day for him. I quite like Medieval Dynasty, I must admit, I do quite enjoy it. My only little grumble with the game is that in the whole quest system and like story system side of the game, there's no voice acting, which means there's a lot of time where you're just reading paragraphs of dialogue at the bottom of the screen, and that's a little bit awkward. It's fine now whilst I'm like sat here in front of the PC, like literally like 3 feet from my monitor. But obviously when I'm just trying to chill out and relax and I'm on the opposite side of the room on the sofa, the text is very hard to see on a 4K screen because it's quite tiny, so I can't follow the dialogue. I don't understand what's going on in the quests and the story. And it's even worse on the Stream Deck, because on the Stream Deck screen the writing is even smaller on that screen. The writing's even tinier on that. Did I get anything in the Black Friday sales? Game wise, Parkitect, The Long Dark, and SnowRunner on Steam. I bought SnowRunner on Steam. I had previously got it on Epic, but I don't really like Epic. And since doing my reinstallation, I haven't even put Epic on my PC. Parkitect is like Roller Coaster Tycoon and Planet Coaster, if you like those sort of games. Very much like that. I think it's kind of in between Roller Coaster Tycoon and Planet Coaster in terms of art style and graphics. I also got Prehistoric Hunt, which is a Call of the Wild meets Dinosaurs game. So you basically go hunting dinosaurs on a map instead of deer and rabbits and things like that, which might be a bit interesting. I don't know. And I also got Marvel Spider-Man Miles Morales. That's what I got. I got that as well. Create a theme park games. Yeah, I quite like Parkitect. I saw it. I think it was quite. It was quite cheap in the Black Friday. I mean, it's $23.79 now currently on Steam. I think it was half price on Black Friday, so I thought it's worth a punt. You know, for effective. You know, for like 12 quid, it can't be that bad. It's got Steam Workshop as well, so a lot of people, when they there's a great big workshop of content where people share rides they've built in the game, so you can download loads of extra rides and stuff. So loads of stuff you can put in the game. But yeah, I got SnowRunner again. I need to start that on PC, on Steam. I've got all the season pack. I've got all the DLC and stuff now as well, because that was all included in the Black Friday sale. As far as actual physical things in the Black Friday sale, no, I didn't buy anything in the thing. I was at one point on Amazon looking at an EVGA 3090 Ti graphics card, which Amazon was selling for 52% off. 52% off, and unfortunately, I missed out because it literally was limited to Friday. By the time I'd slept on it Friday night, got up Saturday morning and was like, yeah, I'm going to go and order it. It had gone back to its normal price. I was thinking, wow, if I could get an EVGA 3090 Ti at 52% off, that would go very nicely in the cupboard for my new PC. And then I could definitely save some money, because then I wouldn't be spending $2,000 on a new graphics card. That would make my new PC a lot cheaper, because I could order my new PC without a graphics card and say to the company, don't worry, I'll fit my own. You build the rest of it, I'll fit the own card. You know? Just make sure you leave all the cables in place. You run all the cables for me. As far as, you know, that side of things. Right, we need to send him to field number 21, where he has got a contract for harvesting corn. The only actual thing I did buy though in the Black Friday sales was my Anker power bank. And I bought this purely and simply because Steam Deck. The battery on the Steam Deck only lasts about 2.5 hours when you're playing it. And if you're not playing it connected to the mains, then obviously you need something to extend the battery life, so power pack. And because the Steam Deck requires a whopping 45 watts to charge it, you need quite a beefy power bank that can actually supply the voltage to it to actually be able to charge it. So yeah, I got that. It's got a little display on it, tells you how much battery life the power bank has got left. So this is currently 95%. And then there's another screen that actually tells you how much you've actually put into it and how much is being used when you've plugged it in, when you've got devices plugged into it. I can charge 3 devices at the same time, 2 USB-C devices and 1 traditional USB-A device. With a maximum power output on all 3 of 140 watts. So devices up to 140 watt I can charge with this. So laptops, if you have laptops or MacBooks, iPads, I can charge everything now with my power bank. And I can get multiple charges out of it before I can charge devices multiple times before I have to charge this once. So very useful. So yeah, that was the only physical thing I bought in the Black Friday sales. Oh, and I got myself some new earmuffs for my headphones. I got myself some replacement earmuffs because my other ones had just started to split on the inside and the foam was coming out. So I've got some nice gel ones this time, which are supposed to be cooler for when you wear them for prolonged periods of time. And also the actual material that's in contact with my head is actually a cloth material, not leather, so they're less sweaty. A lot less sweaty. Oh, no, oh, and of course, me being me, I had to buy some sweets in the Black Friday sales. So I got some drumstick lollies. And I got some Refresher chew bars. Which should keep me going for a day or two. Should keep me going for a day or two. Yeah, I must admit, Pete, I also I do like the creator games, like the theme park type games. Any of those tycoon buildy type games, I love. I like the Jurassic World Evolution games. Software Inc. Project Hospital. Anything like that I do like playing. I guess that's kind of why I like Medieval Dynasty, because there's a bit of that kind of stuff in that game. Without being like too heavily survival-y based, you know. I've played other survival games in the past that have been a little bit too survival heavy, too combat driven. Whereas Medieval Dynasty actually is quite gentle and relaxing to play. In fact, you can customise so many of the game settings to your own personal taste. There's been quite a lot of updates recently for it too. Yeah. Yeah, a lot of games get a lot of updates. Again, that's another good thing about all these builder type games and park type games. They get quite a lot of regular updates and stuff. I think Jurassic World Evolution's getting one soon, where they're adding some more stuff to it, some more maps and dinosaurs and stuff. I haven't played that game for quite a while, since Dominion came out at the cinemas back in the summer. I might have to have a look at it. I might have to have another bit of a look at that game. Because I did enjoy Jurassic World Evolution, but it did lack quite a lot of the sort of depth of some of the other building games, the design park games. I mean, so that can be a good or bad thing, depending on the type of person you are. I mean, for example, Mr. Helgi quite enjoyed Jurassic World Evolution, but doesn't like Planet Coaster because all the building of stuff in... not Planet Coaster, Planet Zoo. Because, again, it's the both games, they're all made by Frontier, aren't they? Planet Coaster, Planet Zoo, Jurassic World Evolution, all made by Frontier. But yeah, the building system in like Planet Zoo and Planet Coaster, a lot more in depth, because you actually have to place all the little blocks and build all the little buildings yourself. Whereas obviously in Jurassic World Evolution, everything's a prefab. It's a pre-built building, you just plop it down, there's a restaurant. There's a restaurant. You get a few little options. You can change a couple of colours on it. You can change the signage, but you know, it's a pre-built building that Frontier made, and you use that. Whereas in obviously like Planet Zoo and Planet Coaster, you have to build every building yourself. Everything on your map, your park, you have to build from all the millions of pieces in the build mode that they give you. All the objects. It's a bit weird though, because again, speaking of Frontier, I was quite surprised how quickly Frontier abandoned Formula 1 Manager. I don't know if you play Formula 1 Manager, Pete, but wow, Frontier dropped that game very quickly and announced they weren't going to be releasing any more updates for it. Weren't going to be doing any more bug fixing patches. They've pretty much like, yeah, we're moving on to the next game. It's quite clear that when Frontier made Formula 1 Manager, they didn't really consult with people who fans of the sport, and by the time they got the game obviously to release and released it, to actually go back and change all the things that the fans want would require them almost making the game from scratch again. So they can't just go and change things and patch things and tweak things, because however Frontier have coded the game doesn't enable little changes and little tweaks. And I think basically F1 Manager was a first concept, first trial. But obviously for the next game, they need to do a lot more work, and they need to listen, they need to involve people who understand and play Formula 1 and follow Formula 1 a lot more, because there was so much missing from the, I mean, you've played Motorsport Manager, haven't you, Pete? I assume you've played Motorsport Manager. Because if you have played Motorsport Manager, then Formula 1 Manager is basically Motorsport Manager Lite. It's like Motorsport Manager, but with half the features missing. And half the functionality. I mean, don't get me wrong, F1 Manager, fantastic graphics. The presentation of the game, absolutely spot on. Amazing. They definitely got that right and represent F1 correctly in that sense, and obviously having the licenses and all that sort of stuff, absolutely spot on. But then there's not a lot below that. The game kind of lacks the whole management stuff. You know, the game's called F1 Manager. Well, where's the manager side of it? And I know, again, I see it all the time in when I'm looking on like the Football Manager forums. The number of people who say that Sports Interactive need to pull the finger out and they need to make Football Manager more like F1 Manager in the graphics. This guy stops in the middle of the field. I'm pretty sure that's where the Seeder stopped as well. Last time. I wonder if there's something in the map. Whether there's something physically in this map that the AI doesn't like, because the Seeder stopped at that spot too and just sat there. We're gonna harvest. Pete needs to get a drink. I need to go and grab a drink as well, actually. I'll be back in a second as well. It's a good time for me to go and grab a drink. was even asked by the chef what did I fancy for me tea. I don't plan on having any as I'm going out. I did a homemade stir fry for me lunch. I did some bean sprouts and some fresh chicken breast in sweet and sour sauce. But yes, welcome back indeed. Got where we was now. Where was we in our conversation, Pete? On about the difference between Motorsport Manager and F1 Manager. Yeah. Yeah, if you've played both games, you'll notice a lot of similarities in F1 Manager. You'll notice there's a lot of things that seem copy and pasted from Motorsport Manager. But then you'll also notice that there's quite a lot of features missing. Which is why a lot of people call F1 Manager Motorsport Manager Lite. But certainly if Frontier can get on top of things, the next game could be really good. It's just whether or not the people that obviously have not reviewed this game great will return. Whether they're completely done with the franchise altogether because of how badly Frontier got it wrong this time. I mean, some of the very basic things that they got wrong. I mean, sounds like they haven't done enough research. Yeah, they didn't. Honestly, they didn't. Some of the things, some of the very basic things, right? like for example, tyres. Tyres in Formula 1, Pete. You know how tyres in Formula 1 work. There's 3 different compounds. You know how they differ. You know there's wet tyres of different compounds and how they differ. Frontier didn't. They didn't know that. I think they've changed it in a patch. I think they patched it after the game, because I know somebody made a mod to fix the tyre issues, and then I think basically Frontier took that guy's mod and kind of put it in the game officially. A modder fixed the game for them. But it's still not perfect. It's still not great. This guy's still got a courseplay course loaded. We will remove that. Must have been when I was doing my lime spreading, or possibly stone collecting. Because yeah, I must admit it was, and he stopped again. Because yeah, it was quite comical on the opening sort of release window of F1 Manager. Because obviously you had all these like famous streamers and YouTubers who got given an early key to play the game like a week or two before the release and do videos. But none of those streamers or creators were F1 fans or F1 people, you know. They didn't really they didn't know the sport, you know. So obviously they didn't pick up on things in their early videos, or they chose not to talk about things in their early videos, or were told not to mention certain things in their early videos. Because that was like the first thing I noticed. The very first day I played it, the first thing I noticed was the tyres. And I was like, how on earth did they manage to screw that up? You've got soft, medium and hard compound tyres, right? You got your yellow, you got your red softs, your yellow mediums, your white hards. As Formula 1 fans, we know what that means. You got your fast tyres, you've got your medium tyres, you've got your slow tyres. But you've got your fast tyres that wear out very quick, you've got your medium tyres that last a medium amount of time, and then you've got your slow tyres that last forever and are extremely durable. When F1 Manager first released, that wasn't the case. All the tyres had the same speed, the same lap time. The only difference was the softs wore out faster than the mediums, which wore out faster than the hards. So basically, you just fitted the hards and you were able to do the same lap times as everybody else doing the softs. You just didn't need to pit as many times as them. It's like, what? How did you mess that up, Frontier? And then the wet tyres. Oh, it's absolutely fantastic on the wet tyres, Pete. They have this lovely little graph in the game which shows you track water level. And it tells you quite clearly in the game that if the standing water on the track gets over 1 millimetre, you need to be on the intermediates. And if the standing water on the track gets deeper than 4 millimetres, you need to be on the full wets. It's fairly straightforward. You can see the chart, you can see how the water level is rising and falling on the graph. So you know when to pit and change your tyres. The only problem is, it makes no difference at all to the actual laps. So the AI, doesn't matter how much water is on the track, it just runs around on slicks or on intermediates. And you feel like a Burke because you keep coming into the pits to change your tyres, because the game keeps telling you, oh, there's 4 millimetres of water now, we need to be on the wets. So lap time is the same time. It was, yeah, when the game first launched. There was absolutely no reason whatsoever to use any other tyres. Certainly in the wet, no point pitting. No point pitting for intermediates or wets. Because you would just lose time for pitting. You might as well just stay on your slicks, still do the same lap time as everybody else. I could not understand, when the game first came out, why I was doing so badly and getting such bad results in my races. And it's because I was trying to manage the races as a real F1 fan who understands how Formula 1 works. The minute I stopped trying to play it as an F1 fan and just started to play it as its own game and understanding how it as its own game worked, oh, completely different. But yeah, they did fix those issues. Like I say, somebody initially somebody made a mod. Somebody in the community made a mod that fixed the tyres, changed the performance on the tyres, and the lap times of the different tyre compounds. Also did some tweaks to DRS and stuff and the slipstreaming, because a lot of times there was issues where cars would have DRS and wouldn't be able to overtake the car in front of them. They would just sit in a train forever behind that car, unable to pass it. And I think Frontier took that mod and made it part of the game in one of their updates. But then what Frontier did very sneakily after that, they locked the game up so that you can't mod it. If you try to change any of the files, the game won't actually start. So they tried to prevent anybody from modding it further. And fixing it even more, which I felt was a little bit wrong. Because if Frontier have turned around now and said, hey, we're done with the game, we're not doing any more updates, any more fixes, they should at least now turn it over to the players and let them fix it then, I think. You know, we bought it, we've bought the game, we want to play it, so let us fix it. You know, as a bit of a goodwill gesture, especially if you want us to go and buy the next version of the game. You know, F1 Manager 23 or 24 or whatever it is that comes out next year. Right, he's going to do the rolling. I need to go and empty the harvester because he's been sat there for quite a while. But yeah, I couldn't understand it. I couldn't understand, when I first started playing F1 Manager, I couldn't understand why I was doing so badly at McLaren. Why, like, Lando wasn't, you know, whilst you know, why Lando couldn't get out, couldn't, you know, finish any higher than about 15th. You know, I mean, obviously Danny Rick, we don't expect to finish anywhere, so I was, you know, I was quite, you know, I could believe where Danny Rick was finishing in the races, but I couldn't understand why Lando was having such an issue. And then I realised It was because I was playing it as an F1 player. And the rest of the AI wasn't, you know. I mean, such a simple thing as well. Such a simple thing in Formula One. After every session, every practice session, after every qualifying session, each team has to return a certain number of sets of tyres. Okay? We know that because we're Formula One fans. And we know that teams generally return the sets of tyres that they've used in that session. So, you know, if in free practice 1 a team uses 2 sets of medium tyres and a set of softs, they probably return a set of mediums and a set of softs to Pirelli. The ones that they've used around with and worn out. In F1 Manager, at the end of every session, it was scripted that specific sets of tyres would get returned. So you could have used, you know, free practice 1, you might have decided to have used hard tyres and mediums, and at the end of the session your brand new sets of soft tyres would get taken away from you. And you'd be like, what? What the hell? So again, you suddenly find yourself going into qualifying and you had no tyres. You've got no softs because they've all been given back. They've all got taken away from you. It's like, what? So I actually made myself like a cheat sheet. I actually made myself a cheat sheet by going at the start of every session. At the start of every session, I took a screenshot of the tyre compound screen, and I marked on the screenshots which ones got returned at the end of the session. So I made sure then every session I used the tyres that they were giving back, that the game was going to take away from me. But I was like, well then there's no choice. There's no freedom of choice there then, is there? You're taking away player freedom there, because the game's already scripted to say 2 sets of softs and a set of mediums for practice 1. But I guess in Frontier's mind at the time, it made sense because of how they did the tyres. The fact that there was no difference in lap time in the tyres, so it didn't matter whether you had softs, mediums or hards, because they were all the same speed. But yeah, I tell you what, Pete, I would have loved you to have played the game when it first came out. And I would love to have had a conversation with you about it at the time, because obviously you're a big Formula One fan. You probably would have been quite irate about some of the stuff. I think. You would have asked for a refund. Oh yeah. I tell you what, I felt like asking for a refund. I got as far as the Hungarian Grand Prix in my first season with McLaren. You know, I was doing reasonably okay. I was doing, you know, I was middling along. And when you've played the game, you will appreciate how long it takes to do a Grand Prix weekend with free practice 1, free practice 2, Free practice free. Qualifying. The race. Okay. So you appreciate how long it takes to get to Hungary in the calendar. And I went into that weekend, came out of that weekend, and somehow, whilst taking part in the race weekend, McLaren lost £376 trillion in my finances. And as a result, the next week the board sacked me because of the financial status of the team. And I have no idea where that £376 trillion went. Because I didn't buy anything. I wasn't researching anything. I wasn't developing anything. I was at a race. I was at a race weekend. Where'd my money go? And at that point, I was very reluctant to start a new save, to start all over again, because I was like, geez, if that glitch, if that glitches out, game's glitched out, 18 races into the season, you're gonna be pretty freaking fuming. I really wanted to see if after the first season the playing field leveled out any, or there was any changes in the playing field, because certainly in the first season of F1 Manager, Red Bull and Ferrari are fucking miles ahead of everybody. Even Mercedes, they're miles ahead. And they literally win every race without fail. Okay, thanks Pete. I will hopefully catch you another time. Enjoy your food, sir. And hopefully I will enjoy the game. But as it is 8th tier non-league football, it's probably not going to be that amazing to watch. It certainly ain't going to be like watching the World Cup. I don't think I'm going to be seeing any Mbappes or Ronaldos or Bellinghams or Rashfords tonight. I'll probably see some fat bloke who's a postman most days of the week. Right, I need to do some lime spreading. Lime spreadage. This might be a good place actually at this point in time, because bearing in mind I can't use uptime because I haven't set up my Stream Deck to work with my Twitch account. I've been live for 3 hours 53 minutes and 30 seconds. Might now be a good time to end this stream for this week and say I will see you all next week back here on the Ringwoods map, where we'll be carrying on with some fine I've pressed something wrong there and now I've broken everything. Now is probably definitely a good time for me to end the stream. So thank you everybody for tuning in this week. I will see you all next week back here on Ringwoods. In the meantime, keep following the channel to catch my other streams. I'm sure I'll be playing Football Manager again before the end of the week, carrying on with my Man United save. So I will see you then. Cheerio for now, ladies and gents.